The development team at a retail company is gearing up for the upcoming Thanksgiving sales and wants to make sure that the application serverless backend running via Lambda function does not hit latency bottlenecks as a result of the traffic spike. As a developer associated with the following, so would you recommend to address this use case? Configure application auto scaling to manage Lambda provision concurrency on a schedule. Configure application auto scaling to manage Lambda reserved concurrency on a schedule. No need to make any special provisions as Lambda is automatically scalable because of its serverless nature. Add an ALB in front of the Lambda functions. Configure application auto scaling to manage Lambda provision concurrency on a schedule. Okay. You have created a continuous delivery service model with automated steps using code pipeline. Your pipeline uses your code maintained in a code commit repository, code build, and Elastic Beanstalk to automatically deploy your code every time there's a code change. However, the deployment to Elastic Beanstalk is taking a very long time due to resolving dependencies on all of your 100 target EC2 instances. Which of the following actions should you take to improve performance with limited code changes? Store the dependencies in S3 to be used while deploying to Beanstalk. Bundle the dependencies in the source code in code commit. Create a custom platform for Elastic Beanstalk. Bundle the dependencies in the source code during the build stage of code build. Okay, so bundle the dependencies in the source code during the build stage of code build. AWS is a fully, there are no servers to, I don't know, I need to study. You are a developer working on a web application written in Java and would like to use Elastic Beanstalk for deployment because it would handle deployment, capacity provisioning, load balancing, auto-scaling, and application health monitoring. In the past, you connected to your provision instances through SSH to issue configuration commands. Now you would like a configuration mechanism that automatically applies settings for you. Which of the following options would help do this? Use a Lambda hook, include config files and EB extensions at the root of your source code. Use SSM parameter store as an input to your Beanstalk configurations to deploy a CloudFormation wrapper. Okay, include config files at the root of your source code. The options settings section of a config defines values for configuration. Configuration options lets you configure. Okay, you have migrated an on-premise SQL Server database to an RDS database attached to a VPC inside a private subnet. Also, the related Java application hosted on-premise has been moved to Amazon Lambda function. Which of the following should you implement to connect AWS Lambda functions to its RDS instance? Okay, use environment variables to pass in the RDS connection string, configure Lambda connect to VPC with private subnet, and security groups needed to access RDS. Okay. Use Lambda layers to connect to the internet and RDS separately. Configure Lambda to connect a VPC to the public subnet that will give internet access, and use security group to access RDS inside the private subnet. Configure Lambda connect to VPC with private subnet and security group needed to access RDS. Okay. All right, one more. The developer wants to integrate user-specific file upload and download features in an application that uses both Cognito user pools and Cognito identity pools for secure access with S3. The developer also wants to ensure that only authorized users can access their own files and that the files are securely saved and retrieved. The files are 5 kilobytes to 500 megabytes in size. What do you recommend as the most efficient solution? use CloudFront Lambda at Edge to validate that the given file is uploaded to S3 and downloaded from S3 only by the authorized user. Leverage an IAM policy with the Cognito identity prefix to restrict users to use their own folders in S3. Use S3 event notifications to trigger a Lambda function that validates that the given file is uploaded and downloaded only by the authorized user. Integrate API gateway with a Lambda function that validates that the given file is uploaded to S3 and downloaded from S3 only by the authorized user. Okay, leverage an IAM policy with the Amazon Cognito identity prefix to restrict users to use their own folders in S3. Okay.